start by saying all praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Harakal Kadash, double wonders into your pools and elders of great Musa and the rule well, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Right, it's Paya Allah,
I'm on.
and gonna do another sit down, and Lord willing, you be edified, open forum. So you're gonna go in the spirit, because right now we're in the last days, man. You see all the things happening. We just had sweltering heat over here in the UK, man. Unbearable fucking microwave levels of heat, man. Like 40 degrees Celsius. I'm not too sure what that'll be in I know you brothers out in the States, you use a Fahrenheit metric. But basically it was hot, man. To the point where people were getting sent home early from work. And even at the point where there was wildfires in the UK. First time you heard of that shit, man. Where you had many different what they call it, suburban areas basically catching alight. You know, due to people having barbecues or just, you know, a piece of glass drop on the floor or something like that. And just get the dry grass basically get set alight and just catch fire and keep going and going and going. So that's the kind of fucking environment that we've been on. And that's been the guys for what? For them to come out and say global warming, this, that, and the other. And you have people like, fucking hell, mate, it's hot. Global fucking warming, they need to do something about this shit. Because if not, we're all fucking gonna die. Like, that's the kind of attitude everyone's taking towards the situation, which really is allowing them to forward their agenda with the whole carbon footprint being brought down, which is one of the main agendas that is going full throughout this decade, right? Agenda 2030 and all this type of stuff. You had Klaus Schwab come out and say that the biggest thing that we need to do at this point in time is by the end of this decade, they want to put, you know, zero emissions, zero carbon emissions into play. And even there's another thing now within the whole of the EU, they're required to have a black box within their vehicles for when they're driving to track their carbon footprint and all those type of things. Now, the reality of the situation is, you can run a car on water. You can there's many different ways you can run a car or modes of vehicle of transport. Right? There's different, you know, there's free energy, magnetic generators, mechanical generators that don't even require just, you know, a mechanism kind of I don't know how to word it in a good way, but the kind of what's the word? It's free energy basically. It's just a mechanism that basically works based upon physics or however may you put it into words, and it just keeps on going. It's just free flowing kind of mechanism which would bring about energy. You got different means as to where, you know, you can tap into energy, but this whole system is built upon the petrodollar, right, fraud, debt. So they got an agenda at hand. Alright, you got a scripture.
Ecclesiasticus 12:10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Yeah, as far as when it comes to this man, you really can't trust him, especially when it comes to things that he claims to do, you know, for the greater good. Those things are what? It's usually what? Him trying to push some form of, you know, some form of plan, some scheme, something he wants to get in place. And as well, even when things occur, it's, you know, there's a saying, don't waste a crisis. Whenever, you know, some form of, you know, crisis hits, any form of troubles come, you know, there's always an opportunity. That's why he had it reported what that Amazon, Tesla, a few, like, I think they said the top like 25 companies or some shit made like hella money over the course of the pandemic, like the first year or so of the pandemic, and you know the people on the bottom lost money. So it's a matter of with when these things go down, Esau, the elites of Esau, they're not just lollygagging. They're looking to utilize those things with their end goals in mind. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. Yeah, so it's not a matter of of Esau that can change. That's the role. That's the position that was given. It says what the wicked was made for the day of evil. Esau's got a role to play, and a big part of it is what? Is being that deceiver, going out into the world to deceive. And that's why it's with a lot of these with whole the way Esau's built up his society is a way what? To maximize profit, maximize money making, maximize him, his desires of what he wants to get from the society to be, at the forefront. You got more?
Nah. Or
Oh
to
wait,
say,
you got more? No, I can't
Yeah.
remember what I feel like there was something.
no, I was just
Some
speaking
other point I was
for
making.
him. Basically their agenda being, we're seeing them make, big leaps and bounds toward their agenda. Also, you had I'm trying to catch you with that. But basically, you're seeing leaps and bounds being made with, especially in Texas. I noticed there been a lot of like plants, energy plants being set on fire. That same whole trend that's going on. That same trend that's been going on for the past year or so is still in effect. So we ain't got too much long, alright? And really, we're gonna see this winter time. It's really gonna show all the different sleight of, all the things they've been doing, the sleight of hand, and all the agenda that they've been pushing forward is going to be made known in this winter, man. Alright? Yeah, potentially as well, Rishi Sunak may come into office, man. That might be the first Indian Prime Minister. Alright? You got various things going on.
Just non-white as well, which would be kind of funny.
That's true, yeah.
Cause I've been had women twice now.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, it's gonna be another woman or Rishi.
Mm-hmm.
He from the jump, he's kind of been the one at the forefront. You got something on that?
Not right now, I'll grab it. If you got something, go ahead.
Yeah. Because mention a crisis. Well, even the most recent thing is, I think I had an article on it here. The what do you call it? The food, the Russian grain, Russian, Russian, Russian Ukraine agreeing to to let out grain from from their region, which is basically meant to what? To stifle the soaring prices globally, and that's a big portion of of the food crisis. Not the only one, but obviously would have positive impacts. And there'd still be like prices would still be up. And now that everyone's been fucked, a lot of shit will probably just get bought out on the market. Because it's like what happened with China, like now it'd be like maybe a year and a half ago, I believe. Maybe a year and a half ago when they started stacking grain. They were buying up like all the grain on the market, and you couldn't even find it. Like they said, they had enough stored for like a year plus in China. So you have other countries doing that now, to where they're gonna know, okay, this war's still going on. This this deal could fucking fall through tomorrow, or just get flipped. So they're gonna be looking to buy up everything. So it's not the end of everything. But there's an article in CBC, which I think is Canadian. It says Trudeau says he has no faith Russia will uphold a deal to export Ukrainian grain. It says what Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said he's not convinced that Russia will hold up its end of the deal to reopen Ukrainian Black Sea ports to grain exports. Russia and Ukraine signed separate agreements Friday with Turkey, and the UN's clearing the way to export millions of tons of desperately needed Ukrainian grain, as well as Russian grain and fertilizer, ending a wartime standoff that had threatened food security around the globe. So that's what the agreement's meant to have been, but it's something that can easily go sideways. And as well, I don't even know how that shit can interact with sanctions, but we'll see. Because people won't give a fuck. There's a bunch of countries like Sri Lanka got fucked out. Well, Sri Lanka, I think the price of fertilizer went up. This was 6 months ago, so it was a while. I think it was even before the war kicked off. But Sri Lanka, they stopped importing fertilizer when the price went up, and then went to natural farming. Then they got weaker yields, obviously, because they weren't using fertilizer, and that is like a big part of what started getting people losing their minds. To where now you got what? Them man just ran up in the presidential palace. We're doing fucking Bollywood dances, drinking man's alcohol collection, swimming in his swimming pool. The ex-president or whatever of Sri Lanka, and now they got the next guy in. So it's and that was off the back of what a big part of it was food, but also the rest of their just kind of fucking went to shit.
Mm-hmm.
So with you have, and it's gonna be always like the so-called third world countries first. They're gonna be the ones that go that shit gets fucking sideways.
Because their resources are getting sucked by the first world nations and the second world. But then it's like a domino effect. As as the first world and second world dry up most of its resources, then the second world will succumb to it because the first world takes the president. Until, lo and behold, the first world, there ain't nothing left, man.
Yeah.
Or even should I say the 1% within the first world.
They concentrate everything. Because the thing as well is for poorer countries, there's a lot of shit they import as well. So it's like if they ain't got the money, because Sri Lanka as well, their currency,
Politics as well.
Yeah,
Who's got more of who holds more weight or swing in the political world,
Yeah.
They gotta grease their palms at the end of the day.
Because with Sri Lanka, they what do you call it? There was a bunch of shit they imported, but they inflated their currency. So it was like worth less and less to the dollar. So when people that were having to import certain things, the prices got to the point where it became untenable. And that's the other thing that's going to happen. It's like as they destabilize more the poorer places, then they might, even if they're selling to the first world, the amount, how much they're getting, how far that will go is going to be less and less. Then you have ones like, I think it was Thailand, maybe Thailand or a different country, I can't remember, where they were just they stopped exporting like chicken, I believe it was. So, these things, it's, and that's why it's like, because I think I can read a bit more. So it says, when asked Friday if he trusted Russia to uphold its end of the deal, Trudeau said he had next to no faith in Moscow. Canada's confidence in Russia's reliability is pretty much nil. They have demonstrated nothing but poor faith, Trudeau told reporters during a media availability. Russia and Ukraine, both among the world's biggest exporters of food, sent their defense and infrastructure ministers, respectively, to Istanbul to take part in a signing ceremony, the two sides said. So it says what Russia created global food energy crises global food, energy crises, Trudeau. So um, that's yeah. It says Trudeau accused Russia of creating both crises by invading Ukraine, which hey, it's true fucking hell, to a degree, but that's not the whole story. Because as far as for the food, there's done been famines, there's done been a variety of impacts that have been being had upon the food industry as is, and inflation's a thing that's been going up before the war started. It just got exacerbated. We had the energy crisis in the UK was the winter before the war even went off. Before the war even kicked off, it was a winter before they were saying, okay, energy crisis. You had a bunch of the smaller energy companies getting fucking squatted. So that's like with now they're all trying to pin it on Russia, but obviously these things is a whole cascade of dominoes of different things happening over time, and that's what people lose the perspective on. Read this. First Thessalonians 5 and 1, it says, but of the times and seasons, brethren. Oh, did you have anything?
No.
But of the times and seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Yeah. Well, let me read it. So it says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. Yeah. So with this deal going through, everyone's thinking peace and safety. They're like, oh, can we avert the global food crisis? Even if the deal doesn't fall through, and let's say the next 3 months, 6 months, whatever, the Ukrainian and Russian grain is getting out, that's not going to alleviate all the things now that are currently going on within society now. All the different issues, because like it's even in the UK, if you throw out the invasion of Ukraine, still got the Brexit issues, man. Now you've got like the Northern Ireland problem that was the main point of contention. That's starting to fuck up, and that's something where if that fucks up, these Irish youths are gonna be out there fucking doing a madness, man. They're gonna be gonna be going out there shooting man, shanking man. IRA, nail bombs to blood clot, all that madness. Because them, it's for them. It was legit. The deal that was Friday agreement. That's the only thing that stopped these men each other off on the wildest scale. Like it was absolutely absurd. I remember growing up. Anyone that was around in the UK in the 90s. No, them man were just blowing things up. Them man were putting out threats on all kinds of things, laying man down, doing all kinds of madness, man. Man was trying to go to war with the military, go to war with the cops. They were getting it in. So that's something that, considering how fucked that situation gets, that's something that's on the table. That man can just go back to Wild West. And these are the things that people don't keep at the forefront of their minds. Because as far as for them, the whole circumstance, the whole situation is, they've had it simplified. They've just, they read one news article, they saw one meme on Instagram or TikTok, or they just saw, a guy kind of explaining it in a minute and 21 seconds. But they're not aware of the fullness of what's gone down. Because it says what? For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Yeah. When they're thinking peace and safety, then sudden destruction. And that's the thing, is Esau, he really thinks he's everything's going to work out as he desires. Because even with these, everything's going to work out as he desires. Because even with these events going down, these elites are really thinking, they're pulling strings, they're orchestrating things. When it's moving what? It's moving according to the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. When it goes sideways, they're going to get caught out there too. But the average peon, the average nobody on the street, they're beyond mystical to them. They don't know what the hell is going on. Don't you know? They don't know what they're doing. You know, they don't even know the basics of how to maneuver on the face of the planet Earth. You know, let alone being able to analyze like, okay, maybe there's something going on here. A lot of people, you hear them talking, they're talking about the next time they're going on holiday, they're thinking about, okay, they're looking to get married, they're looking to do, they're basically caught up in the pride of life. But hey, all you have to do is, and that's the thing is the Ukraine situation, it brought it to the forefront of their minds for a season. But now what? Who even, bro? Do you even see Ukraine flags anywhere? There was a period of time you see fucking Ukraine flags everywhere you go. You had niggas getting half the heads blue, half the heads yellow. The Ukraine. But now who gives a shit, bro? No one gives a fuck about fucking Ukraine. They're talking about the Women's World Cup. But ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor darkness, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. Yeah. So brothers are, watching, being sober, because we're looking at what's going down. These things happen. It's okay. We're analyzing. We're looking at the depths of it. Because why? There was even article I read that said like what so let me just double check this. Yeah. They said what Putin was trying to get a ceasefire for what you got in Ukraine supplier and finish the job. And real talk. That's as real as it gets. Because that's what man are looking to do. So that shit is still, in living, breathing colour. And by and large, it's like you got a bunch of mandem out there getting annihilated. And that's something that is going to spread. Because you're going to have, global conflict where things are going to escalate. You got anything?
Yeah, quick one. It's the book of Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. They oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil. Yeah, and as it tells you in the book of Proverbs 16:4, the Heavenly Father made the wicked for the day of evil. Now that day of evil was set upon the children of Israel, right, during the time of the curses, which was spoken in the book of Deuteronomy 28, verse 15 on down. But guess what? This time is making its fulfillment, all right? Not to say that it's over yet, but we're seeing through the prophecies outlined by Yahushua that these things are coming, that the end of this kingdom is coming into effect. And what's going to be instituted is going to be Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, I believe it is, where, let me actually grab it quickly and just read the first verse or two. Okay. I'm going to read the first two verses. I'm going to jump down to verse 7. Deuteronomy 30:1. So it says, and it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord Yahweh thy power have driven thee, and shalt return unto the Lord Yahweh thy power, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul. Verse 7. And the Lord Yahweh, thy power, will put all these curses upon thine enemies and them that hate thee, which persecute thee. And thou shalt return to the voice and obey the voice of the Lord Yahweh and do all his commandments which I command thee this day. So basically, there's going to come a time where these curses are going to be passed on to Edom, alright? But first, there has to be the bringing down, taking down of Esau's rulership. And that's what we're in the midst of. That's why we're seeing all these things happen right now. Whereas America and the United Kingdom, European nations as a whole, are looking like a comedic skit show. Right? It's looking like Key and Peele, Dave Chappelle. Right? The most heinous kind of acts, man, going on. Like Biden's son, Hunter Biden, man. That guy's a real piece of work, man.
Yeah,
cocaine
fucking
off
video footage as well.
Yeah.
The guy got fucking man was dealing with the red sparrows, man. Them femme fatales, Russian sleeper agents. Got him fucking just outed completely. It's fucking funny because I think a lot of that shit happened when Obama was still in office. I think was when the shit started up. And it's just like, yeah, that's something that I think there was a certain period of time where it's like if you're talking about that, especially on like YouTube, your video would just get fucking swatted into the fucking stratosphere.
Yes.
So it's like that's some shit they kept under wraps, you know, until for a certain period of time. And that's how it is with a lot of things, man. You want more news or not?
Nah, that's the point.
Read this. Jeremiah 49 and 12. It says, "But thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken, and art thou he that shalt altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it." And yeah, as far as Jake, you know, Jacob was, you know, they weren't meant to drink of the cup, but hey, they drunk of it, man. They've you know been bad. They've been wiped out. They've been brutalized. They've been destroyed to the point they don't even know who they are. So that was what was done to the apple of the Most High's eye. So how much more so for Esau?
Someone who he has no form of love or connection to.
Yeah, but in fact has hate.
Yeah.
Says what and I hated Esau.
With a perfect hate.
Yeah, with Malachi. I hated Esau was hated.
Perfect hatred.
So there it's you know, you should tremble in fear. So that says what surely drunken, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. For I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord Yahweh, that Bozrah shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual wastes. I have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent unto the heathen, saying, what he wants is what Bozrah shall become desolation, a reproach, a waste. That's it. It's all. Well, was it saying Malachi again? It says what they shall build up, I'll throw down. Esau's rebuilt the desolate places, just as when he was in power as the Greeks, as the Romans. Mm-hmm. Then what? He established himself. He made that the so-called Doric pillars. That's one of the key markers, man. That's how you have it in Petra, you have it in you have it in Greece, and you have it in Greece, you have it in Rome. Those are something that's in Esau's spirit, and even now in the modern day, you have it. Now you have the modern day Rome that's been built and established. But what? Those things, it says what? All the cities thereof shall be perpetual wastes.
Desolations.
He said, I have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh, an ambassador sent unto the heathen, saying, gather ye together and come against her and rise up to the battle. Yeah. These heathen are basically be looking to come against America chiefly. Because why? There's, actually going to read this as well because Germany, who's basically of the EU. I think other than the Eastern Europe, well, maybe even no, not to the same degree. Because I think there was a graph where they said there's other countries in Europe that have like 70%, 50 to between 50 and 70% gas from Russia that they rely on. But now what? Germany's feeling the burn. So that's on CNBC. Says what Germany agrees to bail out energy giant Uniper as Russia squeezes gas supplies. So yeah, says what Russian gas supplies to Europe have fallen since its unprovoked invasion of Ukraine earlier this year, and the subsequent sanctions placed on Moscow by the West.
Unprovoked.
Yeah, so even with those sanctions, are more or less what? That's a big part of why Europe cut off from like that Nord Stream. Says what Germany Friday agreed to bail out Uniper with a 15 billion euro rescue deal. As the embattled energy company became the first major casualty of Russia's natural gas squeeze, the package will see the German state take a 30% equity stake in Uniper. The company's shares initially rose when the deal was announced, before falling sharply. So yeah, it's companies basically got to be bailed out. Because why? Because they're all dealing with that Russian gas. Now that Russian gas is done, hey, they're toast. Because yeah, it's fucked. And the thing with Germany is Germany has the capabilities to kind of cover it. Because they're one of the chief places where Esau's at, and they have the production to kind of do that. But it says what Uniper was the first energy company in Germany, Europe's largest economy, to sound the alarm over soaring energy bills and submitted a bailout application for government support. Earlier this year, as Germany's biggest importer of gas, has been hit hard by vastly reduced flows via pipelines from Russia, which have sent prices soaring. So yeah, I think it was Russia was saying they'll take payments in rubles to kind of get around the sanctions. But a lot of the the EU, they can't even fuck with the Russian oil. So Russian oil, Russian gas. So that's fucking up there. That's gonna be fucking up industry. It's gonna be fucking up home prices. The thing is, it's summer as well. These men are baking now. When it comes into, like I said, in the UK anyway, with a combination of Brexit and the old energy crisis that happened before, when it comes to this one, it's going to be a mess. People are going to be fucked. But so it says 20. Okay. So Uniper. Oh wait, no, I read this one. So it said, yeah, to sound the alarm of soaring energy bills and submitted a bailout application for government support earlier this month. As Germany's biggest importer of gas, it has been hit hard by vastly reduced flows via pipelines from Russia, which have sent prices soaring. In a statement, Finnish majority owner Fortum said Uniper and the German government had agreed on a comprehensive stabilization package to provide it with financial relief. We are living through an unprecedented energy crisis that requires robust measures. After intensive but constructive negotiations, we found a solution that in an acceptable way met the interests of all the parties involved. Fortum's president and CEO Markus Rauramo said in the statement. So yeah, there was 15%, 30% stake. That was something else. Yeah. So it says what Uniper has also received. No, Uniper has received only a fraction of its contracted gas volumes from Russian gas giant Gazprom since mid-June, according to Fortum, meaning it had to buy gas at much higher spot market prices, which This has had several consequences for Uniper's financial position. So basically, they're fucking toast. Because as far as, they ain't, unless the sanctions are done, they ain't getting no gas at any kind of reasonable price. And if man is just gonna, get a 30 mil of what was it, 15 billion bailout, then, they ain't even gonna be able to. If they keep doing the same thing, then the company's done, man. It's dead. But that's the allies of America want. Now they're feeling the burn. Because why? Those links they had with Russia, now it's fucking them up. For the benefit of the US. So it says, I've sworn, so Jeremiah 49:13, for I've sworn by myself, saith the Lord Yahweh, that Bosra shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual wastes. I have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh.
Say it, man. I'm gonna read this after. This is like fucking crazy, man.
And an ambassador sent unto the heathen, saying, gather ye together and come against her and rise up to the battle. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. And that's where I want. Esau looking to head. Being small among the heathen and what? Despised among men. Because all these, just like with, these German companies, Salah, being decimated by what? By the gas, by the US sanctions, basically. That, that's put a strain on the relationship. And that's something that is through the spirit. Read a bit more on this. So it says, for lo, I'll make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. Thy terribleness hath deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill. Though thou shouldest make thy nest as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord Yahweh. Yeah. Esau's trying to move like he's the ultimate predator on the on the face of the earth. But what in reality he's he's what? He's gonna have it flipped on him. Because why? It's all the heathen are gonna turn, all the former allies of the US, they're gonna flip it, man. And Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished and shall hiss at the plagues thereof. As in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord Yahweh. No man shall abide there, neither shall the Son of Man dwell in it. Yeah, guy, you might as well read what you had.
You know what? It's irrelevant, but it just kind of hit me a certain way. But it's a guy's basically. Well, I'll just say it, and then if the spirit hit me, it said the woman lay dead on her couch for 2 years. How did no one notice? London called arse. And the woman basically it was just like, if you read the course of events, basically there was just many different things that happened that is just kind of ridiculous. Like, she was just dead for like years and years and years. 2 years from 2019 to like 2022. So it's just like fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's a mess. Actually, one guy I know, he lived in a flat, and it was like one of the flats like on the way from the elevator, fucking from the lift. From the lift.
American English.
Yeah. From the lift to his apartment, like he smelt like the smell of like rotten flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was a guy that had been, I think it was a lady that had been dead in there for like a couple of weeks at least, and she was thoroughly decaying. Like, so for 2 years, she must have been like.
They said there was a foul smell. Like when you read it, it's just like
Spirit of death, innit?
Yeah, but that's why it kind of hit me, because I was kind of like, wait, let me read it, and if any scriptures are coming to mind, we'll just go in it. Because the one's coming to mind about body being dung upon the earth, Jeremiah.
Mm.
But
Grab it.
it says, yeah, I'll just roll through it. Sheila Cilioni, skeletal remains were found on the couch of her apartment.
I think you must have been a skeleton by now. I was
Yeah.
like, bro, you sloughing off. Well, I was thinking of what's the movie Seven, where the guy, I can't remember how long. I think it was like either months or years. He just had the guy tied to the bed, unable to move, just like rotting, like he was almost dead, barely keeping him alive. That's happening in real life.
Yeah.
Truth is stranger than fiction, isn't it?
Yeah. More than 2 years after her death went unnoticed, authorities in London say a local court opened an investigation to find out how she died, when and why no one noticed. Little was known about Cilioni, the daughter of a South African immigrant who grew up in Britain, even at age 58 according to BBC's reporting, but 61 according to the Standard reporting of her death certificate is uncertain. She lived alone in South London and worked as a medical secretary. Sometime in 2019, late summer or fall, Cilioni died, News 24 reported, but no one noticed. In February 2022, London Metropolitan Police forced their way into her apartment and found her decomposing remains on a couch, dressed in blue pajamas and a white shirt with deflated balloons nearby. Fucking hell. Official identified her remains using dental records, but could not determine her cause of death because of the advanced state of decomposition, BBC reported. On July 21st, London's Inner South Coroner's Court held a hearing to investigate her mysterious and unnoticed death, News 24 reported. Cilioni's doctor last saw her in August 2019, BBC reported. The same month, she stopped paying rent. This is kind of the shit that hit me, actually. In September, her neighbours complained to Peabody Trust, the landlord of the building, about a terrible smell coming from Cilioni's apartment that filled the hallway, BBC reported. One resident said they contacted the landlord more than 50 times, the Daily Mail reported. Eventually the smell began to fade. By March 2020, the landlord began taking Cilioni's rent out of her universal credit.
Fuck, so,
That's just...
So the shit just got automated. Well,
that shows
fucking,
you the
come
love.
on, man.
That's why I thought that scripture, they shall not be buried. Like, the love of many should wax cold.
Yeah, I was gonna get that too.
Because it's like, yo, like...
Man was just, he
He
didn't
just
even go check. He
just said like, fuck that, you give me your money.
Send the funds.
Yep.
Get that direct from Rishi's pocket into mine.
So he said monthly payments from the British government. In June, her gas was shut off, BBC reported. In mid-October 2020, officers visited Cilioni's home twice in 1 week to check on her welfare. The Standard reported they never made contact with her, but inaccurately told her landlord that she was safe and well.
Man went there, probably smirked as that. You know what that is as well? It's them man don't want to have to deal with fucking all the nonsense of like dealing with a dead body.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like in The Wire, where you had the thingy homicide unit, where when the phone rung, they'll be trying to do everything in their power to not what do you call that? Take responsibility for for any bodies coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So them man probably were there just like nah. They're like, what a bitch.
And then the one guy got lucky, or I don't know if he got lucky in that the light skinned brother picked up the phone and one of them was like had a good.
Yeah, it was an easy one. Oh yeah, it was like yes, and it was like a guy just admitting to it was me, I did it, I probably killed him. Funny as hell.
So it says the landlord took no further steps to investigate. Of course he wouldn't, because they told him it's safe and well, innit? See, Leonie mail continued to pile up, increasingly concerning her neighbours, the Guardian reported. So, you know, her welfare was in little question, man. Because what was happening, they were just looking at it like, whatever, you know, she's cool.
She's probably fine.
Let me even, I just pulled up, they got something in Facebook, I'll quickly read it. Justice Moniere, not neighbourly enough, London. I will remain in Africa. South African, I think. That name. Oh, no, that's another language. People who were dropping her mails didn't notice. Suspicious, not gonna lie. NG, I don't know what that is. Not more than 2 years and still perceiving the smell, and who was paying her rent? Where was her friends and relatives?
Rishi was paying her rent.
Yeah. So she didn't have friends and workmates, and do they feel the smell after 2 years? And SA relatives have never made an attempt to communicate in 2 years. So yeah, it's a bit.
You know, that 40-degree weather must have been fucking cooking her remains, bro.
No, but she got found out a bit sooner than that, though, man. But there was a heat wave. When was? No, it wasn't. It would have. She died. She would have been alive. Last heat wave was either 2018 or 2019.
Yeah, there was one of them.
Maybe no, it wasn't 2020. It was 2019.
It was not 2020.
She was alive though, because that's when it was so hot.
Yeah.
They said the reservoirs were drying up, and all the bark was peeling off the trees, and the leaves were falling off because it was so hot.
Scorched to death.
Yeah, it scorched the earth. But reading on, it says on February 18th, 2022, Storm Eunice hit Britain, causing widespread chaos and blowing open the windows of Sileone's apartment, the Guardian reported. Hearing banging sounds coming from the apartment, Sileone's neighbours called the police to check on her, according to the Daily Mail. Only when officers returned for the third time did they find Sileone's remains. On the third time, Coroner Julian Morris said at the July 21st hearing that a death is sad to lie undetected, for in all likelihood over 2 years is difficult to fathom in 2022. Sileone's only remaining family was an estranged brother in Britain and long lost relatives in South Africa. But you know what? This shows you that, hey, when it comes to every man for himself, it's not too far distant, man. Because no one. Oh, go ahead.
Well, a lot of people kind of in that situation ain't really got anyone that fucks with them like that. I think they said there's like a loneliness epidemic as well, which is why like social media, a variety of things like that. Because even like OnlyFans as well. The reason why you make those thingies go around, pictures go around are like the top OnlyFans women saying how much money they made. They're making like $1.5 million, 2 mil, that much. Like they were making a killing, and it'll be like 300 grand they get from just messaging guys. Well, guys paying like $60 or something per message or some shit to talk to them. Cause these guys ain't got no girlfriends, don't leave the house, they don't do shit. And they're just kind of, they're depressed, just paying money, go to work a job. They just pay money to some girl to talk to them over the internet. Because that's the kind of, like, now, everything's falling, is at fucking decaying, man. Just like that broad corpse, man. Read this, Jeremiah 9:22. So it says, "Speak, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, even the carcasses of men shall fall as dung upon the open field, and as a handful after the harvestman, and none shall gather them." Yeah, no one's gonna gather them up. No one's gonna grab up them corpses. That's how it's gonna be. Because the thing is with her, even, it's a matter of what? That love waxing cold.
Yeah.
The love of many waxing cold. Because everyone's that so-called
Neighbor,
neighborly spirit.
lend me some sugar. I am your neighbor.
What's the what's it, neighborhood watch?
Yeah.
Those all those kinds of spirits, them things are gone. You might maybe in the US the culture is a bit different, so to a certain extent.
Well,
some
even
things might,
this is inner city London as well. Any metropolis area, because I know New York is if anything worse than London
yeah.
in terms of that, like standoffishness.
Yeah, that's how these paved up, built up metropolis areas are. And yeah, it's funny still because like the Purge, man, where you had the family move in, then the neighbors come round, they were super nice. Then as soon as the Purge started, these guys came in looking to murder them. It's even if people so-called get along, they'll be spiteful, they'll be hating, they'll be looking, they'll be thinking, oh, this guy's garden's better than mine. Yeah, that fucking garden shit. I remember, was it maybe Malcolm in the Middle or some shit? I can't remember, man. They used to have TV sitcoms where you have the guys competing over how they do their garden. Read this, Jeremiah 16:4. Well, we start from 3. It says, "For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, concerning the sons and concerning the daughters that are born in this place, and concerning their mothers that bear them, and concerning their fathers that beget them in this land. They shall die of grievous deaths, they shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried, but they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth." Yeah, and that's how peak is gonna be. It's hella people are gonna be like what? As dung on the earth, man. They're gonna get murked off. They're gonna get dropped, or they're gonna drop dead. Whether through fear, through whatever, through famine, pestilence, whatever gets them. Because as it says, it's like those for the sword to the sword, those for the famine to famine. There's different weapons out there that people are gonna get taken out by. But what these things are all gonna be. These things are all gonna. It's going to result in people just getting taken out on a scale where you're going to be able to just be like, okay, let's just go. That's why they always talk about what? Mass graves, the giant, what's it called? The coffins, those big
Open
plastic
graves.
fuck off coffins as well. But a lot of these things ain't even going to get the opportunity to be utilised. Because it's going to get on a scale where it's just, hey, it's too much. Just like in what do you call it, man? Ukraine, where to create humanitarian corridors or whatever for civilians and whatnot to be able to get away after they blow some shit up, man. After they blow a bunch of grannies up, it's actually wild, man. But that's the reality of what they're saying. Like, oh, Russia's done strikes on on the old people, so. I'm like, bro, I was like, I don't know what's shocking for you, man. Kids been getting blown up in the Middle East all the time.
Yeah.
Like, why am I meant to care about some fucking grannies all of a sudden? But that's the mess, man. I think I had something else to get as well. Oh yeah, Love of Many Wax Cold. Matthew 24. And 9 says, Then shall they deliver you to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Yeah. Because iniquity may abound. Because iniquity is abounding, love of many will wax cold. That's something you've seen, man. You go back to like the 50s or 60s, it's switched up, man. Because that's why it's like over here it was especially when the Windrush came in, they were thinking all these fucking nignogs The fucking one guy, he said like some old, I can't remember if I told you or not, but some old white lady he works with said like that her dad used to call black people NNs. And then he was like, yo, what the fuck are NNs? She said nignogs. I was like, what the fuck, man? So this place is fucking funny, man. Just, but that's, people, that the love, so-called love, so-called community. They say, the multicultural, inclusive, blah blah blah. Nah. Behind closed doors, Jakes are getting called fucking nignogs out here, man. And it's funny that gollywog shit. I don't know what it is, but it's like there was even a fucking recording on Twitter I saw. Where it was like some guy was I don't know where it was. It was somewhere outside London. He was he had, on his van. He had two fucking gollywog stickers on either side, just fucking stuck there. Then the police officer came and said like, look, you've got these offensive stickers on there. I'm gonna have to remove them because I've asked you multiple times to remove them. So it's like it peels them off. And the guy's like, yeah, but you fucking taking them there, yeah? I was like, you know what? I don't know what it is with the Brits and them fucking gollywogs, man. But them man don't want to let that shit go.
Yeah, man.
But that's, that so-called love, that so-called community, that spirit of that melting pot spirit that's meant to be popping off out there, shit ain't popping off, man. Those you saw some rotten white lady. It might have been like, some Muslims that live next door and were just like, nah, you ain't really gonna fuck with that.
Oh, for real.
But it's the way everyone operates is different. We're like, oh. They won't even know when to lament them, man. They don't know youths or nothing.
Yeah, you got something?
I think I just need to read a bit more.
Oh,
So it says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Yeah. No, I finished already. But go on, you can get yours.
Alright, it's the book of 2nd Ezra 16, and I'll start from 21. It says, behold, victuals shall be good cheap upon the earth, that they shall think themselves in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. That's what we're in the midst of right now. Right, the sword, you're having crime waves upon crime waves in the UK, in America especially.
Yeah. Well, this is the year, I say the year the mass shooters. It's done been like the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even, bro, it's the funny thing is, like, I got a notification from only one news source telling me about one. And I was like, you know what? You check the list, there'll be like 3 or 4 that didn't even get no reporting.
Mm-hmm.
There's ones that happen where it's like, because I think there was
They don't
one
want to
in,
depress no one.
was it in Denmark? There was one in Europe or somewhere. I think it was Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
Where there was a shooting. Let's check. What the hell is going on? Okay. So Oslo. Copenhagen. What's that? New York Times. Okay, yeah. So Norway, yeah. Yeah, it was Norway where one happened as well. But yeah, that's actually yeah another one as well in the US where it was like a kid started shooting. I think he killed like 2 people. Then some next guy laying them down, man, that was there.
I think I heard about that one as well, yeah.
Because I think he got to start shooting. He had like hella mags, like hella guns. He was ready to fucking absolutely let loose. Then the guy just fucking blew him away, man. But I don't even. That's the spirit over in the US with the mass shootings. That's on another scale. Did you finish what you were reading,
No.
by the way? Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So it says sword, famine, and great confusion. All these things we're in the midst of right now. There's a great confusion going on so many levels, man. Alright, whether it be as to why these things are happening, or it be as to the new agendas that are being pushed out. That's great confusion. Alright, that's part of the serpent eating the dust. Alright. Verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall no man to comfort them, and shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. Now we're seeing in that article you just read, within that example, and that just showed you a woman with not so many relatives over here in the UK, how even the fact that she lived on a floor with many neighbours that may have said hello in passing, there was no own. They didn't feel there was no onus on them to check on her. You know, how could that smell be there, and no one even asked each other?
Yeah,
Wait, when was the last time you saw her? You know, that didn't come across their mind. All right. But that's because what? The love of many shall wax cold. No one gives a shit, man. That's the generation we live in, man. No think of. I know you remember. As a child, man, I could have been what, 5 years old, 5, 6 years old. The Noah book, because I remember I got it from. Remember you have book fairs.
I remember that one. Yeah.
In primary school. So you'd have a book fair. These people would turn up. They'd open up these big cap.
I think it's called.
Yeah, they'd have like it's called a Scholastic.
Scholastic, I think it's the company.
Oh, okay. But they'll come with their books and open it up and they'll be like, wow, book fair. And you look at all the books, the pictures and everything.
And you get to buy some
books.
little catalogue.
Yeah. The little catalogues and then you choose. Yeah, I'm going to read that.
And
Shit, boy, that's a fucking...
that's
nostalgia unlocked. Like, I forgot about that shit.
I remember, I was like, yeah.
You'd have the catalogue and you'd be like, I want that book. Imagine man talking about books, you know. That's how entertainment in this generation has drastically changed, man. Because you love that's why we used to like going to the library, man.
Yeah, because I remember it's like even my my landladies, like the girl was in my place before I was. Like she left a bookcase there, but it was like no one wants a bookcase nowadays.
Yeah.
The fuck someone got to do with a bookcase?
Mm.
But yeah, no, for real.
So basically no one gave a shit about her. She just died, man. But as I said, okay, that's it. The Noah book I had, if you remember, and they said like in the book, I remember it was funny because it's like they said like no one cared. Obviously they look like Edomites, innit? Said God made basically the story of Genesis. And I remember this book because this is the book that kind of shaped, you know, it shaped your personality. Yeah, you could say that. But your childhood kind of thing. That was like the one book I always remember. Because I remember there was one picture and it said Noah began to build an ark and no one believed him. And the picture of Noah getting kicked in the arse by a fucking one of the people, man. And I always remember that. I was like, yo, that's some fucked up shit, man. They kicked him from behind. I was like, that's crazy, man. But that's how, you know, they're really like showing the level, and really it's true. Because what? Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets. That is light work, really. Like they were personifying that on a lighter level. Okay? But that's to what degree they didn't rate Noah. Okay? So let's read on. So it says read verse 23 again. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the sea shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The tree shall give fruit, shall gather them. Right, just like that Sowili, whatever her name is. No one cleaned up after her. There was deflated balloons and all that type of stuff. Her decomposed body was just sitting there. Like, that's some shit, man. And that's how these people are gonna die in this time that we're in. They're gonna just die and just where they wherever they die is where they're gonna lie at, man.
You see a rib cage with
just
like
showing,
fucking ant colony in there and shit. You can have a fox chilling in the tailbone.
Beehive in the skull, in the hole of
Yeah.
the skull.
Yeah, it's gonna be,
Hey, like,
utilized.
it's funny, it reminds me of this 50 Cent lyric, man. They shut that boy down like a dog in the street, left him smelly. Or fuck that, roll him over, take that Pele. You ain't never heard a nigga spit like me. But I used to love that do what freestyle and guess who's back. But that's like I said, they shot that boy down like a dog in the street, left him smelly. Yo, fuck that, roll him over, take his Pele. That's gonna be the attitude. Just like how you see how could I personify those lyrics into film? Book of Eli. When he was going around, he found a decomposed body with some boots, a perfectly good pair. He just took them boots off. Said, "Boy, lucky day today."
Some good
That's,
boots.
yeah, man. He didn't have these for too long, boy. That's the attitude that's gonna be present in that time, man. All right. So it says, verse 24: There shall be no man left to till the earth, and to sow it. The tree shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? All right. You're just gonna have fruit growing, man. All right. And then fall, and then ripen, and then just that's it. Verse 26: The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men, and that one man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. So you're gonna have people in the cities, but you're gonna have everyone allocated to a certain place, man. It's why, like, it's funny because this is not that far fetched. Like, where I presently work is a place within London that's like a cleft within it. It's like it's a whole place that's dependent. Like, it's kind of crazy because you go around the city and there's different points of the city where the way it's kind of carved out, it's like it's self-sustaining and it's a bubble within itself. Because you have the residential area, then you have like the local supermarket area. Then you have the local shopping area, like you go there for meals and you want to buy some high-end clothes and all that type of stuff, and obviously you go to internet as well. But then you don't need to actually venture far beyond that domain. Like, that's self-sustaining within itself. And if you come over to that area, you'd be like, wow, there's so much to do around here. There's so many different things. Like, I don't need to leave this area. But then that's like a 5-mile radius or so. And then I don't know how many square miles the city is, but then you just drive over to the next portion of the city, it's the same thing going on. So you can see how there could be, great mass death happen and certain outbreak of a new flesh-eating virus or whatever have you. And then guess what? You have these zombies walking about, and it all just people living in one tower block over there, and they have control over seize control, maybe some like cannibalists. Then you have another one, there may be some leftist liberals, and then you have another one conservative. And you just have different vibrations going on, man. But the Lord is gonna, you can see how it can happen, man. Alright? So it says, as in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. Alright? So basically it's gonna go from the time of reaping down vineyards and whatnot to reaping down houses. You're gonna have people basically excavating different places, man. Alright? And that's due to a lack of bread, the famine, right? The wars and all these types of things. Alright? Verse 32. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through. Right? Just like there's a place actually where you used to live, I remember went out with the elder brother Ramar, and we saw a jaguar, man. That shit was fucking crazy. But and this speaks to the point I've just said about different places within the city that are just like bubbles within themselves. It was a thick, just a thick bush where when you look at it, it's like you really don't know what's inside of that bush. It's so big, and then you're able to. There was a building right by it where you were able to see it from like a bird's eye view, like a high-rise building. So when you look at it, it's probably like about 3-4 miles of like thick bushes that no one really goes through, and you could see how there could be wildlife in there that you just don't. The whole ecosystem over there, you have no knowledge of, and there's just things going on. It's just a controlled environment in that sense, right? But the point being is that when when we went through there, it was basically it was manicured by gardeners or whatever. But there was a time I remember we wanted to go through there, nice like little piece of greenery. Time we wanted to go through there, man. They hadn't tended to that for a couple months, man. You really did not want to walk through that that place because it looked very scary, especially knowing that you seen a jaguar. You just said like, yo, fuck this shit, I ain't bothering myself. Alright? Verse 33, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms, the women shall mourn, having no husbands, their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. And in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it, believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Right? So that being the point. Yeah, man, that's the point. So I guess that little, that woman serves as a good example as to the things that to come and to the attitude of the people as it is right now. And it's only going to form into more of a degenerative plant where you'll have more and more people have a lot of malice and hate towards each other. And we've seen it happen with David, right? That basically gave people the ability to feed into their prejudice, for one, and then even just have a
righteous jump off point to to blast everyone else from.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's really what it was.
Gone. Yeah, that's it for that. You got anything?
Nah.
Close it up, man.
Okay. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Lord willing, we're getting edified. But yeah, things are moving. Things are moving swift. Because it's like over the space of a week. It's actually mad how much happens now when you compare it to like 5-10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the time we're in, man. War is happening, energy crisis, food crisis. You got the new, instead of the C-19, you got the neo HIV, aka the monkeypox. These things are all just out there moving, man. We'll see what it becomes. But yeah, leave it there. Say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Harakah Kadash, the one of the apostles and elders, let us know.
Shalom. Shalom.